Thank you for tuning in to our second series of Breadcrumbs podcast with me, your host, Barbara Smith. Gather around with your little ones because it's kids' story time. Hello, boys and girls, moms and dads, everyone watching around the world. I wanted to come and give you another story today. Let us know that being greedy is never a good thing. It puts hatred in your heart and it makes you not fun to be around, and it will make you lose friends very quickly. So we do not want to be greedy. We want to be thankful for everything that we have. And now that we're just past the Christmas time season, and maybe we've gotten all kinds of new toys that we didn't expect, and we're so excited and we're loving them, maybe our moms and dads want us to give up some of the old toys and give them to someone that might be in need. We don't want to be greedy and hang on to everything so tightly. I want to tell you a story about Kasim and Ali Baba, two brothers, and 40 thieves. Do you know what a thief is? A thief is a robber, someone that takes stuff that is not theirs. They steal. That's what a thief is. This is a story about some thieves. Ali Baba and Kasim Baba were left. Their mom and dad had passed away, and Kasim had married a very rich girl, and he was living just fine, and a nice, beautiful life, nothing to worry about. On the other hand, Ali became a woodcutter, as his dad had been, and every day he had to work hard and go into the forest and cut down the trees. Every day, just working so hard for any kind of money that he had. He was also married to a wonderful woman, but she was poor as well. One day when he was on his way to work, he heard a big noise and turned around and saw the dust of someone coming in the distance and the dust rising from the horses' hooves. They were chasing and running really fast, and he went and hid behind a tree, and he noticed as they passed by that they had some sacks on their horses that looked like maybe it was filled with rocks or maybe gold or jewels maybe. He didn't know what was in the sacks. And so he hid behind the tree, and they came around the corner and they went to a cave, and they all stopped. They all got off their horses, and he heard a man that looked like he must be the manager, he must be the chief, holler out, "Open, Sesame." And when he said that, the cave doors opened up, and they got all of their stuff off their horses, took it into the cave, and then closed the door. "Close, Sesame." Ali Baba, was so curious, and so he said, "I'm just going to stay here and hide behind these trees and see what happens." So he waited a little while, and it started to get dark, and right before dark, the men all came out of the cave again, got on their horses, and they had apparently finished their night's work, and they all left to go to their houses. So when Ali realized they were gone, he came out very quietly, very carefully looking around, went to the door of the cave and said, "Open, Sesame." And the door of the cave opened for him because he knew the secret word now. And when the door opened, wow, it shone so brightly. All of the jewels and all of the gold and all of the silver. The cave was filled with beautiful things. And he went in and he said, "Wow, they must have been stealing a long time. Look at all this beautiful stuff." He said, "I'll just take a couple of bags of gold and they will never miss it. And my wife and I, we need a little help. We don't have any money. I'll just take a little bit and go to the house." So he did. He took a couple of bags of gold. He put it on his donkey and covered it up with some of the wood that he had been chopping that day. And he said, "Close, Sesame." And he closed the cave door and he went back home. By the time he got home, it was dark. And he told his wife, he said, we need to weigh this gold. He told her what had happened, that he found the cave and he found gold. And she said, why do we need to weigh the gold? He said, well, we want to know how much we got, but we don't have a scale. And she says, I don't think we need to weigh it. He said, we're going to weigh it. He said, go to our sister-in-law's house, ask her if we can borrow a scale. She went to Kasim's house and asked the wife, could we borrow your scale? We need to make bread and we've lost our scale. So she said, sure, you can borrow my scale. And she went and she took it home and they weighed all of the gold that they had. And after they weighed it, they dug a hole in the backyard and they hid the gold there so that nobody would know that they had gotten it. But they didn't realize on the bottom of the scale there was one coin that was left by mistake. Ali told her, go ahead and take that back to Kasim's house. We're done with the scale. Tell them thank you for letting us borrow it. She took it back and she came home and they went to bed. Well, at Kasim's house, his wife noticed there's something down in the scale. I wonder what it is. I wonder what they've left in there. And they discovered the piece of gold. So Kasim came in the morning to Ali's house and said, what is this piece of gold and where have you found it? Ali was so upset with himself that they had left that piece of gold in there, but he knew that he had to tell his brother Kasim what was going on, and he told him about the cave. And he told him that the way to open up the cave is just to say, open sesame. Well, Kasim didn't need any money, and his wife was rich, but they were greedy. So Kasim said, well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go and get me some gold. So he went the next day to the cave, hid behind the bushes, and when the thieves left, he went and opened the cave. Open, sesame! Well, it opened, and when he went in, he said, oh, look at all these beautiful jewels and this bright gold. He was just like sunshine in his face, and he was just overwhelmed. He's like, this is so much, this is so beautiful. And he started to pull bags. Bag from over here, jewels, bag of silver, bag of gold. He started to pile it next to the door, and the door had closed behind him after a certain time, and he just kept piling things by the door that he was going to take. When he was done and he thought, well, this is enough, it was probably more than he could really take, he went to the door and he could not remember the secret word. He said, door open, please open. It's time to open. Open up, door. He kept trying to use words and phrases that he thought might open the door, but it was not the right secret words. He was stuck in the cave. He knew he was in trouble. He went and tried to hide beside some of the gold, behind the jewels, and tried to find safety. He thought, well, when the thieves come back and they open up the door, I can sneak out. When the thieves came the next day, and of course at home, Kasim's wife was getting worried about him, and she went and told Ali, he must be lost. There's something going on. There's something wrong. He hasn't come home for the night. And Ali said, let's wait until the morning and we will go find him. But when the thieves came back to the cave and they said, open sesame, open the door, they saw that someone had pulled out bags of jewels, bags of silver, bags of gold, and piled them by the door, ready to take them. They went searching the cave, and they found Kasim. They were angry. You try to steal our stuff? There is no way we're going to let you get away with this. If we let you get away with this, who else knows the code? Who else is going to get in here? Who else is going to steal from us? They were thieves, and they were greedy as well. Just like Kasim had been greedy, if he would have taken 1 or 2 bags, he would have gotten out of there. But he was greedy. They took Kasim, and they killed Kasim. They did because they didn't want anybody else to get the code to go into the cave. They took his body and they cut it up and they put it around the door of the cave so that it was so gross and so that nobody would want to even go in there. Very, very sad story. When Ali came the next day, he came and he saw what the thieves had done, and he saw Kasim's body, and he began to gather up all of Kasim's parts and take it back home. He went to Kasim's house and told his wife, "They have killed Kasim because he was caught in the cave and he did not get out." Kasim had a slave girl that worked for them named Morgiana. She was very, very smart, very, very loyal. And so Ali said, "We need to find someone. Go into town and see if you can find a tailor and bring them to me so that we can put Kasim back together and have a nice burial, and no one will know. Everyone will think that he has been sick." And so they made it look like with the neighbors that he had been sick and that he had died. And now a tailor is a person that sews things up. A tailor will sew a man's suit or mend things with sewing. And so they brought the tailor and he mended the body of Kasim so that it looked just in his casket like a normal body. And they told everyone that Kasim had been very, very sick and that he had died and passed away, and they gave him a funeral. But the thieves were in town, and they realized that this was the person that had gotten into the cave. They went looking for Kasim's house and looking to see if Kasim had any other family, just in case Kasim had given them the code to the cave. The very, very smart Morgiana let Ali know, "I have seen in the city, I have seen the thieves, and they are coming to find us. They are coming to get us." And so they devised a very smart plan that when those thieves came to catch them, they would be ready for them, and they would be able to catch them unaware and take care of them. And so when the thieves came to the house in the middle of the night, Ali, Morgiana, and the wives, they were peeking out the window, and they saw them coming into the backyard and hopping into their flour barrel and their sugar barrel and hiding in little spots. And they were going to hide in there until the morning, until they could come in and get Ali, his wife, Kasim's wife, and Morgiana, and kill them as well. So Morgiana said, "We're going to take some hot oil, and we're going to go to each one of those barrels, and while they're asleep, we're going to pick up the lid of the barrel, and we're going to pour that hot oil on them, and they are going to die in the barrels, and they won't even know what has happened to them." So that's what they did. All through the night they worked. They went to each one of the barrels with hot oil, and they poured it in and smothered and drowned those wicked, wicked thieves in hot oil. So Ali Baba, his wife, Kasim's wife, and Morgiana all moved in together into one home, and they had riches for the rest of their lives because Ali Baba knew the code to the cave: open sesame and close sesame. And so he could just go and get them money whenever they needed it. He didn't try to go and get it all at once like his brother Kasim, who was so greedy, but he just got some money as they needed it. You know, in this life, we have so much more than we will ever need. Sometimes we have more toys than we can ever play with. Sometimes we have more things in our houses than we can even appreciate. Sometimes there's cars in our yards just parked that we never drive as adults, as mom and dads. We have to stop and be grateful and be thankful for what God has given us, and not try to be greedy and keep hanging on to things that we do not need when there's so many other people who are in need. Do you know the Bible says that we should give, and then it will be given back to us. And it will be given back to us like bubbling over, like a stove that has boiling water on it and is just bubbling out of the pot, bubbling out of the pot. When we give to others, God will give to us, just so it'll just be like bubbling. So many blessings, more than we could even imagine, because we give and we're not greedy. So I just wanted to let you know, with all the things that you might have for Christmas, maybe there's some things that now you can give away, maybe that you have outgrown or that somebody else might need to make them happy, to make them contented, and to make them have a wonderful new year. You could share with them and not be greedy. When we're greedy, it just leads to bad things. We lose friends. We get hatred built up in our heart, and we never want that. We always want to be loving and kind and giving. Thanks for joining me today. Until we meet again for another story time, have a good day. Thank you for stopping by. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Until next time, bye-bye.